Alrighty. Hi. This is our first episode. We don't know what we're calling it. This is sort of just like a chillax episode. My name is Riley, and I'm here with
Hunter.
Hunter. Alright. So yeah, as I just said, this is more of a chillax, sort of like a hangout session. You might just talk about a bunch of random stuff that comes to mind. Just whatever we decide. So I think I want to start with sort of some of the popular mainstream media that's out right now. We both watched Minions: The Rise of Gru.
That was Pog.
That was so
yeah.
yeah. As a movie, it's quite bad, but the memes are really funny. And
It's like Morbius. It's exactly like Morbius, but
the studio execs are like kicking themselves because they're trying to figure out why. Like, the Minions is popular, but not Morbius.
yeah, Sony doesn't understand why Morbius took off.
I think, yeah, because like, Morbius was being memed on because it failed, while Minions became a meme before it came out. So like, people went to see it.
Well, the Minions were a meme before it came out too. Like, not the movie itself, but it was associated with shitty jokes that you'd find on Facebook.
Or like, it could be a good joke, and then there's just like a minion slapped onto it.
To make it funny.
I know. My mother would go on Pinterest, and there'd be a lot of jokes with like minions on it, but it was something about like drinking wine or like hating men.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is like minions standing next to it?
These minions they reproduce
Asexually.
At least that's what I assume.
There's like pop and shit. You guys can drink the fridge.
Yeah, that's what he's got.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just gonna let you know.
Yeah, that's what he's got.
No alcohol, man.
I don't.
Stay out of it.
I'm not,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't do that. Yeah. I can just edit that out. So.
That's fine. I mean, I drank a bit last night, but that's because I was at a party, and I was the one of the three of our family that stopped early.
Yeah.
So like, I feel somewhat good about that. But either way, back to Minions. Back to Minions. Yeah, 3 out of 10.
I don't remember what I gave it on my letterbox. I think I gave it a 3 too. I couldn't stand it.
No, the best part of that experience was the crowd. I think this was the most active crowd, at least I've ever had in a theater. Like, No Way Home was kind of close, but like, not even Avengers Endgame was that rowdy. Minions: The Rise of Gru, for whatever godforsaken reason, just became a sensation of meme hilarity, and I find it extremely hilarious.
To be honest, I do like the culture surrounding movies where people are starting to react more often because it gets a reaction out of me. It's either really stupid or hilarious. Like when Mr. Fantastic showed up in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, John Krasinski, woo, and the theater was like, ah! I'm like, okay.
Wait, actually?
Yeah, the theater was like, wow! I'm like,
I thought my mother would get a bit more of a reaction because she loves The Office. So I didn't tell her that John Krasinski from The Office was going to be a superhero in it. So I'm like waiting for her reaction. And then he shows up. And it was just the most dead expression I've ever seen. And then I asked her about it later. And she was just like, I don't think he fit the role. And I'm like, damn. Even my mother who likes him didn't like him. Dang.
I thought he fit. I think he fits the role. It's just they're not going to do anything with him. They're going to get someone else. I'm sorry.
They're gonna get a 20-year-old to play a high schooler, which doesn't make sense for the character, but they're gonna do it anyways.
Mr. Fantastic was a high schooler outside of Ultimate. He wasn't even an Ultimate. He wasn't an Ultimate, but you know what I mean. He was younger in Ultimate.
Yeah. Every other time he's in his like 30s or 40s.
Yeah.
It's just in the Ultimate comics, he was young, hip, youth.
Looking back on it, why did they adapt the Ultimate comics? Because the Ultimate comics sound awful.
I mean, Miles is decent.
Well, yeah, because...
And, like, the death of Peter to get to Miles is kind of cool. But, like, the rest of it sounds pretty bad.
That's because they used Spider-Man to launch Ultimate. That was, like, their... You were looking at Ultimate through the lens of Spider-Man.
which is like really the only way that I would look at it, because instead of Avengers, it's Ultimates, but it's the same people fighting the same villains, and it's like, what's the point of it? They did Ultimate to get rid of the convolutedness, but then it became just as bad in a very quick time frame, and then they tried to kill it off by like merging universes or some dumb comic shit.
Yep.
So like it doesn't even matter.
No, did they kill off the Ultimate Universe? But the only thing that survived were the things that people actually liked, like Miles. But then they revealed later that the Ultimate Universe survived anyways. So it's like
because comics, yeah.
That's the point. Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely. Oh, that was a big lip smack. Sorry. I absolutely agree. Miles is great. The rest sucks. That's my very black and white take on Ultimate Comics.
Spider-Man in general.
Spider-Man in general was good.
But
Right.
the introduction of Miles was a great thing that hopefully everyone is thankful for.
I feel like most
some
people
people are.
There's probably some that only want Peter. But you know what? I feel like that's a very small crowd. Especially after the Spider-Verse movie, I think people have accepted, yeah, this kid's pretty cool as Spider-Man. But I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, back to Minions. The Rise of Gru.
That ending, I can't wait for Minions 3.
And Despicable Me 4. Because they're just going to crank these movies out. They're going to churn them like butter, bro.
Well, first we're going to get the Mario movie.
Oh my gosh, dude. Illumination is going to screw it up so hard, but I can't wait. I'm so excited.
They're making money off of pure irony, and I love it.
I think they understand at this point, or at least I think they should understand.
Nope. They don't understand.
That it's pure irony. And that's what fuels the internet. And that's what I need.
That's what fuels our culture at this point, to be
It's
honest.
just irony.
They'll be looking back on our culture 2,000 years from now, and they'll be like, what the fuck?
These humans are kind of stupid.
Look at how you did these humans, because we probably won't even be around by then.
Yeah, it'd be like
monkeys.
revert to monkey? Absolutely, revert to monkey. Alright. Anyway, yeah, that was one of the things we watched. We also saw the new Thor. I hated it more than you did, but like we were pretty close.
Yeah, we were close. I was thinking about giving it a 6, but I'm just stuck with a 5 at mediocre. But I would be willing to, because I'm willing to jump both sides. Just
I gave it a 5 initially. Like I didn't love Ragnarok, but I still think it's like the best Thor, and I love Taika as a creative individual. What We Do in the Shadows, Jojo Rabbit, I think are excellent, and then like his acting work and like Our Flag Means Death was like really good. So I was excited to see what he did with this, and because I think it wasn't a separate writer this time, it was just him, or like him and some consultants or whatever. But then what we got was very disappointing, and I'm sad about that. And the more I think about it logically, like some of the plot stuff that happens, I sort of just kind of gave up. Just trying to think, oh, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Because I've been trying to do that with Marvel a lot. Because I've been with it since Iron Man. So I'm like, alright, I'm gonna give it a try. To like think that I'll try to think it's good. And then it wasn't. I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore. So, yeah, I give it like a 4.5 out of 10. So like really close to yours. But I would, if I had to do like a solid number, I'd put it at 4 out of 10, probably.
There's definitely time restraints. Yeah. I barely laughed besides Korg. Taika's greatest Korg. Sorry.
And I'm glad Korg found a male sex lover.
That was good.
The mustachio rock man.
That did get me. I will admit. I want to talk about Valkyrie.
She's boring. And cringy.
It was the same as Ragnarok. Well, what they tried to do was actually add more to her character in this movie. I will also note I don't like Tessa Thompson.
She's good in like. I hear she's good in Creed. I haven't seen those movies yet, but she's really good in the movie Passing. with directed by Rebecca Hall. She's like excellent in that movie. I think she's great in it. So like, just give her the right script because this wasn't it at all.
Yeah.
This was not it.
That's because they try to do the whole all Valkyrie's sad because she watched her entire family die on the battlefield, but they never. It just kind of just disappears.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, I have to protect the kingdom, Thor. You have to go alone." But she also wants to go on the battlefield anyway. It's like, just go.
Yeah, that was definitely forced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to see more of her as king too.
Yeah, there was like the 2 scenes near the beginning,
Because,
and then it's just action stuff. They didn't have enough Christian Bale at all.
for the God Butcher, he
He's
he
in
didn't
it
kill
for-
it all.
I can name all of his scenes, like, with only a couple of fingers, alright? His opening scene where his daughter dies and he kills the god. When he shows up to Asgard to wreck shop. The scene where he walks in on the kids and, like, kills that creature. When they fight him on the moon, or I guess like the Shadow Realm or whatever.
Yeah, that made me laugh.
I know, that was so dumb. And then, when like the really long scene with him at the end with Thor, and then the scene where he brought back his daughter. So like 6 scenes, maybe 7, depending on how much you want to count, like the final battle. But yeah, like 6 scenes in the entire movie. And I think that's a waste of Christian Bale and his talents.
Well, maybe it was too expensive. Yeah, that's probably what it was, to be honest.
Well, then why get him in the first place? Just get a random Joe
To
show.
get money. Because they'd be like, "Ooh, Christian Bale is playing this guy called Gore the God Butcher that I totally have knowledge about right now. I'm not reading the wiki as we speak."
Yep, I love when people online are like, "Oh yeah, this is like one of my favorite characters," but they say that about every character that gets a new property. Like when they said that about Kamala Khan, they're like, "Oh my god, this is my favorite new character." Okay, I've been reading her for years, and it's like, have you though?
Yeah,
Have you just
like
looked up a Marvel wiki 2 seconds ago and read a synopsis? Like,
But-
I don't know.
I was gonna read the God Butcher arc before, but I decided not to, so I just watched a YouTuber just read over it. Those kinds of videos.
Oh, so it's like
Yeah,
about as long as if you actually read it.
pretty much. Yeah.
Did you look at the visuals, or was that
Yeah,
like,
there
just
were
background
visuals.
noise?
Yeah, there was visuals.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't say if I because I didn't read it, but I would say it was interesting in concept, and Gore as conceptually would be a good character for a Thor movie, but
I think
it just wasn't.
having both the Jane Foster arc and the Gore arc ruined both. I feel like, because if it was just a Gore movie, you can get more fleshed out. That would be cool to see him as a villain and get his like redemption at the end, and it would feel more earned. Especially with like the Necromancer sword, which isn't even a symbiote anymore, which is a shame. Wanted to see Venom. Venom. But then like they did the Jane Foster arc really poorly because she like didn't have enough like time to like transition from Jane to Thor. She just shows up well trained as Thor. She's like flying around the earth, and it's like, wait, you know how to fly now? Like, what?
What I was confused about was, so I personally don't think Jane is worthy. I'm sorry, but did he just put the spell on her to protect Jane? Is that why she's worthy? Because like, I don't think she's worthy because she,
Has cancer.
no, not because she has cancer, but like, I don't know. I thought someone who would be worthy would be willing to accept their death,
Maybe.
but yet again, it's
I feel like
ambiguous as to what makes someone worthy.
yeah, and then she's also getting killed by it because she's mortal.
Why wasn't she worthy before?
Couldn't tell ya. Couldn't tell ya. The thing that annoys me most is when I think back to Thor: The Dark World, when Thor put his hammer on a coat rack, and it just sat there.
Oh my god! Oh.
Instead of having the weight that it should, and just go through several floors of an apartment complex, it just sat on a coat rack.
So why all of a sudden is Stormbreaker the key? Is it because it has the
I seriously
Bifrost
don't know why
shit,
the center
or-
of the universe can only be unlocked by the Bifrost,
Yeah, it was the Bifrost. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
which only Asgardians have. Why only give one type of god access? How about give every god or no god access to the center
Why
of
did
the
he
universe?
kill all the gods before? Why didn't he just go after Asgard first?
I know, or like, couldn't he just, like, he lives in the shadows, right? So, like, if he knew about the Asgardians, just take Mjolnir and shove it into the center and then kill all gods when they're not looking. They
No.
just die. They just die. Also, Thor giving a bunch of children that can't act powers was really annoying.
Yeah, that was annoying.
Like, in theory, a child shooting lightning out of a teddy bear could be fun, but I didn't even enjoy that scene. Like, I know Taika was trying to one-up what he did with Ragnarok, but, like, the emotional aspects and the humor, like, just didn't work as much as his other films.
Yeah, I was also kind of disappointed with the I would say aesthetic, but like I wanted more heavy metal. I thought the heavy metal or rock that he was going with the first one was really good.
So,
But
like,
it kind of
the first...
like it fits with Vikings because big, strong men.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, the Ragnarok was more of like an ode to Led Zeppelin. Well, this film is more of an ode to Guns N' Roses because they play like two separate songs from theirs multiple times, so it's definitely an ode to them. But now I'm really not excited to see if they continue on with another Thor film because I think by this point it's gonna do well, and they're gonna want to make a second trilogy instead of just the next Thor.
Yeah, to be honest, I do want to see another Thor. I'm not gonna lie.
I just don't. It sucks that I'm about to say this, but I don't want it to be with Taika, or at least as a writer.
Yeah, he has too much going on.
Maybe it's because he was stuck with the Guardians, and he also maybe had to do stuff with Jane. I think Ragnarok worked so well because it was like simplified. You had the arc on Asgard, you had the arc with Thor and the ragtag crew getting off the Anus planet, Devil's Anus, and going to defeat Hela. Like, it was very simple, straightforward, and it was a comedy. But here it's like, oh, we gotta beat up Russell Crowe to get a thing, which doesn't even help in the end. And then, oh, I can give children powers. Oh, and my lady friend has cancer. Also, Christian Bale wants to kill everything. And it's like, too much. Just gets very involving too quickly. So, yeah, 4 out of 10. That's my
It just kind of ends too, like the,
I know.
the show, like the shows. It's like the movie was made for Disney Plus.
Ugh. And then when the ending was their duo name is Love and Thunder, I rolled my eyes.
Oh, I actually like that, but
I rolled
Okay.
my eyes at that. I was
I
like,
actually did like
yikes.
that. I
Good
actually-
lord.
I actually
That
did like
child
that.
can't act.
Yeah.
She can't act. And, like, what are her powers? She just shoots lasers out of her eyes?
I
Thor
don't-
didn't do that. How does she do that?
Well, because they said she's a child of eternity, so she's like born in eternity too.
So she could just fuck shit up?
Yeah, maybe she's like a god or something.
She can literally destroy the universe if she wants?
Yeah.
I want to see that movie.
Yeah.
Daddy Thor having to stop Godchild.
That's why, because I think Chris Hemsworth does have playing as Thor. Because what this movie did signify for me was the roles from the previous Marvel movies. You know, Phase 1, 2, 3. Yeah, absolutely perfect casting, and they can never replace anyone with anyone.
New
else.
casting debatable. Old casting is pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we done with Thor?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm done with Thor.
All right. I'm gonna quickly go over 2 more movies I saw. So I saw the new Elvis. I'm not a huge fan of his. I've heard a couple of his songs, the more popular ones. I know my grandpa loves him. He has like a bunch of albums, a bunch of books. He even has like a custom poster with Elvis in his garage. So like he loves Elvis. I don't think he would like this movie at all because it's not like actual songs like Bohemian Rhapsody that they play. It's updated modern versions of the songs
Yeah, I
that
want
sound really bad.
that meathead who decided to do that needs to be
Fired
fired
absolutely
from every project because that is absolutely disrespectful to Elvis.
Yeah, we'll just get a bunch of pop stars to ruin the soundtrack.
I don't like it when other artists cover.
Or like
well,
when
sometimes it's good.
when
but
the one song that I know from him becomes an like a rap song. I don't want to hear that. That's stupid.
oh no, did they ruin Oh fuck!
Well, either way, I don't know a lot of the artists that did the renditions. I just know that it sounded bad. That's all I can say.
So is it like the TikTok covers? Like, have you ever heard like a TikTok cover of a popular song from like the '60s or something?
Oh, but like it's got like trap music behind
Yeah,
it.
it's like
Yeah,
slowed down. And the
It's-
one's like, oh,
it's sort of like that, but it's actually like sped up because a lot of what this movie, a lot of what this movie does, because of the director Baz Luhrmann, he loves maximalism. If you've seen like Moulin Rouge, not the play, like his film adaptation, it's very in your face. It's very like, oh my god, I'm gonna cut every other second or half a second. I'm gonna cut from Elvis wiggling on stage
That's good editing.
to women throwing their bikinis at him, to Tom Hanks staring blankly at the camera, to a bunch of lights, and then it'll go to like a split screen mode, and it'll have like Elvis on the right, and then on the left there's like a top left and a bottom left, and it'll like keep swapping panels and shit. Like that's him. That's the director's style. It's just weird, nonsensical shit for editing. And it's like it kept me engaged. It made a 2 hour and 40-minute movie feel like 2 hours, which I think worked in that sense.
Minions for me.
Like, even though Minions was like an hour and 20 minutes, it felt like 3 hours. But yeah. So one thing I come to expect from these biopics is the lead performance is going to be phenomenal, and the rest of it is going to be give or take. Bohemian Rhapsody, Rami Malek's good. They don't fuck up the songs, and it sounds good, but like the editing's bad. I mean, the costumes are kind of cool, but like yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody sort of is like mid. Rocket Man's great. Respect, the Aretha Franklin movie, was god awful. This was like the one time in a theater I've ever wanted to leave. I literally like rolled my seat down on my recliner about to leave, but then I thought about it. I'm like, I spent money on this. I want to stick it through, but it was so awful. I was like, I regretted it. It was a 2.5 hour long movie that could have been like an hour and a half. But one thing that I can say that was good was Jennifer Hudson. So like every single time I go into like a music biopic, it's the person in the lead is going to be fantastic. And that's no difference here. Austin Butler is great. I think he's a newcomer, or like near a newcomer.
Yeah, he wasn't in that much from when I last checked.
Yeah, I think he had like a role in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I don't remember
Yes,
what that was,
did.
but that was a credit he has. But yeah, he was great in it. He nailed the mannerisms, the voice. When they added makeup to him, he looked really close to Elvis. Like, shockingly close. He was, like, perfect for the role, I think. Tom Hanks, though. Tom Hanks, though, I think is the complete opposite. I think Tom Hanks sucks. He's in a fat suit that makes him look worse. He's got like a really stupid accent.
Do you think he's been the same since Forrest Gump?
Yes. He like outside of like Toy Story, but even then that's debatable. I think he doesn't do enough. Like he has and he's like limping around, he has a cane, and he calls himself the snowman. And, like he's like the snowman, oh like the snow will always rain. Like, oh my god, kill me.
The Cum Man.
The Cum Man.
Oh.
It's so awful.
So when's the next biopic on the Beatles, right? With
That's actually happening. I know the
no.
next one.
Oh.
I know the next one is a Whitney Houston biopic.
Fuck you.
That's coming out in December, I think, and it's also a newcomer. So guess what's gonna happen? She's gonna be great, but the rest of the movie's gonna fucking suck.
I'm telling you, the Beatles is next.
Well,
Beatles
like,
is coming up.
Here's
We're
the
gonna have
one
Dwayne "The
music
Rock" Johnson.
biopic. There's actually a couple I haven't seen. There's one on David Bowie
Bears.
on Hulu that no one saw, and I didn't see, but apparently it's like bad, so I'm not sure if I want to. There's the John C. Reilly one, the Dewey Cox story. I hear that's
yeah.
like the best music biopic period, and that's like one of the first ones, which makes sense because they like defined a formula. I really like Walk the Line. That's the Johnny Cash one. What else? There's gonna be. Well, there was one on the Beach Boys in 2015 that I hear is like excellent, and it's like one of the best ones.
Well, wouldn't it be nice if we could just get a Beatles one starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as John Lennon? Michael Cera.
Oh my god, goated casting? What? Oh, Jesus. Honestly, Michael Cera in anything is good.
Yeah, even that movie that keeps showing off in the theater, the Karate Dog thing.
Oh, Legends of Hank?
Legends of Hank.
That looks awful, but also great, because Michael Cera.
Oh, nobody's going to watch that.
Nope. I'm not watching it. I'm going to be watching Nope instead, like a week later.
I'm not going to...
But yeah. Elvis, like the Maximalist style, like Austin Butler. The rest kind of sucks. 4 out of 10. Then I watched Jurassic World Dominion. I'm not going to say much. Bryce Dallas Howard kind of thick. 2.5 out of 10. Or if I had to rank it or like rate it up, 3 out of 10.
Her father kind of thick though too. That hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Ron Howard. But yeah. Did you watch anything else, or is that all you got?
I mean, I watched Drive with my mom.
This is like your 4th time watching Drive.
Yeah, this is my 4th time watching Drive. I still love it. She actually enjoyed it. I didn't expect it, but surprisingly, but I did watch a romance movie with her because I'm like, it's romance. So I watched Blue Valentine.
That's a romance?
Yeah. It's not a movie to watch with your parents. There's
That makes sense.
Constant banging.
So, when I started my Paul Thomas Anderson marathon, I thought Boogie Nights was going to be about disco.
Yeah.
And then when I watch it, it's only porn. It is only porn. And so I'm like, I'm glad I didn't watch this with my parents like I kind of wanted to. And because like I didn't know anything about it. So I'm like, I'm glad I didn't.
I didn't know anything about Blue Valentine. I just thought it because I knew it was Ryan Gosling, but of course when I watched it, of course it's a romance. It's a romance, but when I watched it with my mom, all of a sudden, they're banging. It's like, that's some
great.
nice wall paint right there. Look at that. You see the fine detail in that popcorn ceiling? Wow.
I can make out some shapes up there.
Look at that. Yeah, it was, but it was a really solid movie.
So
what's the other Ryan Gosling movie
The Notebook?
that he
The
directed?
romance?
Because he's making Wolfman with Ryan Gosling too.
Oh, that guy. Here,
Yeah.
I'll look it up. But yeah,
Yeah,
keep talking
yeah.
about Blue Valentine.
Well, so it switches between dad, Ryan Gosling and his daughter, and then his wife, and then it switches to every time they get in an argument because their relationship's like falling apart. It switches back to when they first met, when they were young, dumb, and stupid.
Sure.
And I really like that because it's like, oh shit, like I want them to go back to what they were, a nice happy couple. And then when you just see the relationship just get worse, worse, and worse, it's like, it kind of makes you feel bad at the end. It's like, damn, if that's what all relationships are like, I kind of don't want that.
That's kind of. Well, I mean, there's a lot. I was about to say Marriage Story is similar to that, but like not really.
Yeah.
From what it sounds like, in terms of like, at the end, are they still like in love with each other, but like they know they can't be with each other? Is like that how it ends, or how does Blue Valentine end?
Well, Blue Valentine. Yeah. Basically, Ryan Gosling shows up drunk at his wife's work. She works as a nurse, because she just left him sleeping in a hotel because they were like big night, for their anniversary.
Okay.
I don't think it was for their anniversary, but just to
Try and
get together,
yeah.
Try and make up for everything, because he wants to still be with her. He wants to have what they used to have, but she just kind of like just doesn't treat him with respect at all. So the movie tries to frame them both as problems, and they're both the problem in the relationship. Because like Ryan Gosling is a good dad, but she's a bad mom. I would say she's a better wife than he is a husband.
Okay.
Yeah. It has that dynamic. Because he's a fucking loser in the movie. Yeah.
So sorry, I'm gonna.
She has a
pause
successful career.
The other movie is The Place Beyond the
Oh
Pines.
yeah, that's what I'm watching next. Yeah.
Derek Sinafrance.
Yeah.
He actually did a miniseries called "I Know This Much Is True" with Mark Ruffalo, which is very good. It's based off of a book that I have not read and refuse to read.
That made me excited for Wolfman, and
Which will never come out because it's Universal.
Oh yeah, that's right. But yeah, I think it was very solid. I probably won't watch it again because it was fucking depressing.
But like the movie when you were watching it was good.
Yeah, it was really solid. I enjoyed it a lot.
There you go.
Yeah.
So any TV shows, or can we skip past that?
I haven't watched a TV show since Community, like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like one that I liked, I should say.
Okay.
One that I'm like, yeah, I could watch that again.
Sure. But like you've seen the Marvel stuff, even though you didn't really want to. Some of them anyway.
Yeah, some of them were good, but it's like I'm not gonna go back to them. Like Loki.
You would go back to it?
No, I won't. I won't go back to
But
Loki.
you'll watch season 2 though.
Yeah.
Probably.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Let's go. The Wowster. Owen
Oh
Wilson.
yeah, probably then. Owen Wilson.
Anyway, I started the behind the scenes Marvel's Assembled. I'm only on the first episode right now, but it's kind of cool how they did the lighting effects. So on certain like film cameras back in the day, to get a certain color, you had to like go darker on your clothes. And since Vision is a red person, to get that color, they had to paint him blue. And it looks like red on the camera, which I think is a very nice detail. And apparently the creatives like actually talked to like Dick Van Dyke like before they started filming, because they wanted to get that authentic like 50s 60s sort of filming style right. And they actually had like a 40-person crowd watching the first 2 episodes.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
Which is awesome. I think they could have just put in canned laughter, but to like actually go out of their way to record like authentic like laugh track shit is awesome. And WandaVision's, for me personally, one of the better Marvel shows that's out right now, of the few that are out. So I think that made me appreciate the technical stuff more.
It's kind of funny because the first 2 episodes, I think, in my opinion, are some of the best Marvel content you can get.
Yeah, I think so too.
But like
the
rest is
like they don't talk about like the writer's room. They don't talk about. Well, maybe I just have to get through the rest of the episode. It's like an hour long. I only see.
Yeah,
like,
I wanna see every single person in the writers' room. I want to see what they look like. I want to know their IP address. I want to know their location.
Whoa,
I want to. Yeah, I'm not threatening them. I don't. Yeah.
Whoa.
they're overworked, and I'm sure.
The VFX artists too.
Yeah.
But like they don't talk about like the third act. They talk about the first act.
It's kind of sus.
I know, but like the first act is so good in that show. So it's like it's cool to learn about that, but I want to learn about everything else. You know, I want to learn about everything else.
Well, that's all people talk about is the first act for the Marvel shows. If you really notice,
That's true.
like after the show came out, I should say.
Oh,
Like, it's like,
right.
yeah. Except for Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
No one talks about that ever.
You can do better, Stand It.
God, I saw that you dropped that to a 1.
Yeah, I did because I saw I had it
And,
on my
like,
lowest on my MCU ranked on Letterboxd. I'm like, why did I give it a 4? So I just dropped it to a 1.
See, I think I'll keep it at a 4 because Anthony Mackie does try, and I know Sebastian Stan does. It's just the writing. If it weren't for the writing, they would have like excelled. And it sucks that they're bringing them back for Captain America 4. But I do think Anthony Mackie like tries, and I gotta give him some credit for that. But like and also U.S. Agent's so good.
Yeah, he is.
Wyatt Russell's
He is.
so good.
Yes, I'm excited to see all 3 of them again, maybe, possibly. And
Well, you'll definitely see U.S. Agent in Thunderbolts, which I'll probably never watch because I'm like, yeah, PSA. After Guardians 3, I'm done with Marvel, and I think Hunter over here agrees.
I might not even really tune in that much until Guardians 3, to be honest, because
Yeah, I'm not watching Black Panther. I'm not doing that.
I think Moon Knight was the final nail
show.
for shows. Yeah,
Yeah.
It was like, I mean, I liked Moon Knight, but like,
See, I want to see Miss Marvel because I've read some of her comics. Not everything. I'm not a mega fan, unlike the internet, which would.
yeah, the internet's a mega fan now that the show's out. So
Yeah.
everyone.
So
knows
like I would
everything.
watch that, but they changed her power set, and now she's knockoff Green Lantern, and that's really frustrating. And so now I just feel disheartened to watch it.
I did see one clip of the show, like the only clip that I've seen of the show. Like it looks really heartwarming. Like it looks like a show that you would turn on for your kids, but like, just don't want to watch it.
That's fair. There's no like. By this point, Marvel like keeps trying to spread itself and try to be unique and creative. By the way, there's air quotes when I'm saying these. But every single time it falls short, or nearly. Every single time it falls short. There's
Because
only
of the
two.
messy third act.
Yeah, they inflate it too much. See, I forgot who said this quote, but it was Seth MacFarlane. Here, when he's doing the Orville right now, he was able to bring it back for a third season for Hulu.
No, I thought Disney was like, yeah.
Yeah, Disney wanted
definitely.
more Orville, but now there's season 3 on Hulu. And he said something about like you can't keep to a strict schedule for writing, because when they were forced to do like 13 episodes a season, they were struggling with some of the ideas. But he said art shouldn't be forced to a certain time constraint. Art should be allowed to be as short or as long as needed to create the best story possible. And coming from fucking Seth MacFarlane, I find that insane. But I think that's one of the truest quotes we can use right now, because Marvel refuses to do this.
Yeah.
Every single Marvel show, except for WandaVision, is 6 episodes, 300 minutes total, and it's bloated, or there's not enough explained, even they have enough time to do so.
I think they're just. I think Disney in general is just struggling right now in terms of writing. I don't think it's Marvel or whoever's ahead at Marvel or whoever's ahead at Lucasfilm. I don't want to blame Feige. I definitely don't want to blame Kennedy. She gets too much shit.
Yeah.
I want to blame that CEO. I forgot his name.
Bob Chapek.
Bob Chapek.
There you go.
Wait, I thought Bob. Oh, that was Bobby Kotick. It's Activision. Yeah.
It's not Bob Iger. It's Bob Chapek.
Yeah.
The Bobby.
Or just say the executives are
The
definitely
executives.
forcing these tight deadlines.
Yeah. Well,
And it's sadly the world that we live in.
see, that's why I like stuff like HBO. It'll take like 3 years to get another season, but it's probably the best goddamn season you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
Or like,
No, well, they canceled Raised by Wolves. I heard a lot of people like that show.
that's true. But like they announced that season 2 for our Flag Means Death is finally happening. I should say everyone should watch it. It's so good.
Oh yeah, and Superman and Lois is apparently really good. I'm not gonna watch it, but
Yeah.
like
Apparently, Superman's good on TV, but shitty in movies. Imagine that.
well, I mean, you'd think that they probably have more necks breathing down their neck for movies, but and they had a shitty director attached.
No.
Whatever.
Zack Snyder fans are mad about it, but he's not good. Sorry. Anyway, yeah. So we'll transition to video games. I'm not. You'll probably go on a bit of a spiel. Or
Well, yeah, I guess I'm playing the Star Wars MMO, the Old Republic. I love Knights of the Old Republic, as you can tell by my thing, and
Okay.
Knights of the Old Republic 2. And I have the shrine. But when I first played, I just did the class story, the generic one that everyone chooses, the Jedi Knight. I'm gonna try and do all 8 of them, but like, there's so many fucking DLCs. I'm just gonna do one run with my main one, and then just do all the side stories with all the other characters. But my main one, the Jedi Knight, the main story itself is
okay,
okay.
but the DLCs.
Yeah, the main story is very Star Wars-esque. You know, you're a Jedi Knight. You build up and you have to fight the evil bad Emperor, Darth Vitiate, the Immortal. He's been around for thousands of years,
This
or
is
hundreds of
canon now,
years.
right?
No, it's not canon anymore. He's been around for hundreds of years, and the once great Darth Revan once tried to fight him, but he sadly wasn't able to. But then you finally beat him, and then the next DLC starts after that, called The Rise of the Hutt Cartel, which is where like a planet's gonna explode and you have to get people off. I did the Republic side. I don't know what the Empire side is like, but
You
have to.
destroy it.
Yeah, you
You destroy it.
shoot off in a rocket. It's a fuel war, you know. It's like it feels like a small story in a large galaxy, which I really appreciate. But then things really kick off with Knights of the Fallen Throne, where it introduces entire civilization way out that's more highly advanced than them, that worship machine gods, like it's and the machine gods seem very inspired by Metropolis. Very
As it
interesting.
should. As it
like
should.
I like it's very copy and paste. At least
Oh,
the
man.
main robot lady is.
But
But yeah,
plagiarism.
the first part, it's split up in 2 parts, but the first part is really interesting. You find out that the emperor for that empire is actually the emperor from that one, from the previous story. But if you didn't do the Jedi Knight story and you're doing it on like a trooper story where you're just an average trooper, doesn't make any sense because you never met him.
So it's like a twist that doesn't matter to
Yeah,
you.
to you. So you have to play it on a specific one, which I can like go like, it's kind of stupid, but you kill him off within like the first like 5 minutes of the DLC. He
Cool.
dies, but he like is inside your head or something. That kind of shit. But
So
and
is
then
that as far as you've gotten? Or
no, I got a little bit farther. Then his son takes over, and you have to take down his son. But then the next DLC, you can either kill the son or like redeem him or whatever. His daughter takes over, and she's more powerful. The story is awful in that one. In the second one, Knights of the Fallen. I don't fucking remember.
Knights of the something.
The Knights of the something.
That's what
and-
it's called.
That one was awful. It was boring. But then I also skipped the other DLC, Shadow of Revan.
Is that one boring?
That
I mean,
one's
if you
not
skipped
good.
over it,
Yeah,
yeah.
that one's not. I know a lot of fans like it, but like, it's literally just fan service. I just kind of injected there.
Sure.
That's when you find out the Emperor's still alive because Darth Revan turns out to be alive, and he's like, I gotta kill the Emperor. So what he wants to do is like destroy an entire like. He wants to make a big sacrifice by murdering thousands of people, millions of people to resurrect the Emperor just so he can kill him again.
What?
Yeah.
What? That's not smart.
Because he's split up in 2 personalities because his mind was fucked so much. So like, there's the light side, but then the dark side is just so fueled with rage that's the only thing that's still alive is just his evilness.
Sure.
But yeah, and then the third DLC. What was that? Oh yeah, it's the one I'm on, Onslaught, where it finally picks up and it's actually getting pretty good and ties up loose ends from previous stories.
And is there more after this, or is this where the DLCs end?
No, it's still going on. I still have to play Legacy of the Sith.
So, like, how many left do you
I still have Legacy of the Sith that I'm going
that's
through right
it?
now. That's the newest one.
have?
Yeah.
How long ago was that? Did that come out?
2021.
Holy
Summer
sh-
2021. Yeah, it's
Oh
been
my
going on
God.
for a while. I'm surprised it's still being supported, but they're probably going to cut support because of the rumored Mandalorian MMO,
Which
which
is dumb.
I mean, I'd much rather play because, like, I mean, so the thing I appreciate about Star Wars: The Old Republic has a huge identity crisis. Like the first half of the game, it's like, oh, you can do this with all your friends, and then when you get more towards the other DLCs, it's very story focused, and it's not really like social.
Okay,
It's more Bioware-ish.
sure.
Yeah,
Because it's Bioware.
because it's Bioware.
So they have this MMO, which probably doesn't have a lot of people working on it.
No, it takes like 3 years for them to come out with like a small DLC.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So has it been around since like the 2000s?
Yeah.
That's,
Like
so
2011?
they started when it was in the dense.
When Lucas was being bought out by Disney, I think.
Oh, that was right when it was happening.
Yeah, because they had another DLC called Star Wars Galaxies where you could literally be anyone you want
But then they had to cancel it because of the merger.
they wanted a new MMO, so then they like just got rid of it, and a lot of people were pissed. Those people are still around today.
There's a lot of different kinds of fans today, you know.
Yeah, I don't want to get into Star Wars fans because fucking fuck them.
This is a bit of a side rant, but like, you know those videos online of like theater reactions to like stuff that happens. I don't know if this is real or not, but there was some footage that came out that I saw. It was a screening of The Empire Strikes Back in the 80s. And this dude brought like in like a camcorder, or it looked like a camcorder, and he recorded the reactions of the people of Darth Vader revealing that he was Luke's father. And a lot of it, because it probably had awful audio, like you couldn't pick up a lot, but you could hear enough like like gasps, or like there was like a guy next to the person filming who was like, oh no. like
That's because Star Wars didn't really take off yet. It was just kind of like, I wouldn't say it really took off until after the movies came out.
but I thought the first one popped off.
It did pop off. It wasn't it the highest grossing film so far? Like
One of, yeah. it
I'm
was
sorry,
one
but
of.
I do not think Jaws is like it was might have been like the first blockbuster, but I think Star Wars like defined blockbusters.
And then like that same year, they
Forever.
also had Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which was also huge, and it was another mega blockbuster, and that sort of kicked off the trend that we're still in today. Except back then, indie movies also still did well, and now they don't really, which sucks. But you know what?
Yeah.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah,
That doesn't matter.
And even when you tell someone, "Hey, you should go watch this movie," they're like, "Is that like a Marvel movie or something?"
Or like when I tried explaining to my dad Everything Everywhere All at Once, he thought it was like connected to something, because everything is connected to something now. And I'm like, no, it's its own thing. It's its own multiverse movie. And then he's like, this is too goddamn confusing, bro. Jesus.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel that. It got confusing really quick. But yeah, as I was saying, I thought this might have been fake. You can fake anything now. But I mean, if that was real, the footage, it would have been really cool. I don't know how you would have lugged that in and gotten away with
Well, I
it.
mean, just
but
thinking about people's react, because that's iconic in cinema, but like, just thinking about the reaction sometimes gives me chills. The reaction people might have had
of just
back
like,
then,
holy-
like,
or like
oh,
he was like, or like a child was like 10 when the first one came out, but now they're a teenager,
yeah,
and just the mind blown moment.
like he's watched the first one like hundreds of times on VHS.
And then
And
he
it's
goes
just
in
like-
to see the second one opening night. Maybe even before opening night, you know, like the Thursday screening. And he's just like,
Yeah, he waited in line.
Shocked.
Cosplay.
And then he like goes to school the next day, and he's trying not to spoil it for people who are like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go see it Saturday or whatever." And this kid is just like, "Holy shit! Holy shit!"
His
holy
mind is
shit.
blown. And that dude grew up to be Craig, and Empire Strikes Back is still his favorite movie of all time. And he's Craig.
Who's Craig?
The kid who grew up, he now lives in
his
like
name's Craig now.
he
Okay.
lives in a neighborhood. He's a grandchild on the way. Yeah, he just lives a nice, happy life, and Empire is still his favorite movie of all time.
And his second favorite's Die Hard.
Yeah.
That doesn't
Yeah.
matter though.
Yeah, we don't talk about
No,
that.
no. But yeah, is that the video game stuff you got?
Yeah, I haven't really been playing anything else.
My schedule is I do a run or two of Hades, and then I play an hour and a half of House Flipper. That's been my schedule for like a month.
That's a good schedule.
And that's the schedule I'll continue to be on. Because Hades is great, and House Flipper is great. And I might play some Sims on my laptop at night. But outside of that, it's just Hades and
Sims is the kind of game I go to if I've got like nothing else to play.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's one of the only games I have on my laptop right now. I still gotta download some more that I want. I also want a mouse. I got a mouse, but like the wireless one, so the USB for it that it comes with that you plug in.
Oh,
I immediately lost it. Like 2 minutes later, after I opened the package, I'm like, where the fuck did this go? So now I can't use that mouse. So I have to get a new mouse.
Yeah, Sims, you're gonna not have fun while.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I mean, it's manageable, but I feel like a mouse is going to be a saving grace in this case.
And I'm sorry, but we're guys, so like, Sims is not fun if you're just dressing people up.
Yeah, I'm more of a helping people on their careers or like building the family stuff. Because like I hate building the house.
Yeah.
Like if I need more room, I'll just grab one of the pre-made rooms and just slap it on. Even if it doesn't fit any aesthetic, I'm like, I don't give a shit.
I just want a bedroom.
Or like, oh, I have a toddler now. I need a toddler room.
Yeah,
so I just pre-purchase a toddler room.
That's why Sims is very like, it's like, oh, girls only play Sims, but
I mean, like, I have, so I started as, I started off as myself, but I couldn't move anyone from house to house when in The Sims, not in real life, but in The Sims when I was, like, married to some lady. I forgot the lady's name already. It's been like a week. But,
did you live in the desert town by any chance?
No, I lived in the casual.
Oh, yeah, the generic.
Yeah. But the check mark would never show up when trying to move houses. Like, you can transfer money, but you can never, like, check mark it. So I had to shut down the game completely. And, like, a day later, I came back to it, and it's been there ever since. But by that point, I just started a new generic character.
John Button?
No, so her name's Samantha.
Samantha Button.
Samantha Button. And she is Lesbo, the black lady called Esmeralda. Esmeralda.
See, this is the shit you gotta do. You gotta role play in the Sims.
I know. And then because, you know, they're Lesbo. And you can't go to a doctor unless you buy the DLC that allows the doctor career.
So many fucking DLCs.
So, I am not going to purchase any of the DLCs, so I just bought a child online.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It showed up on my doorstep like a stork, and then I wanted a toddler because I know, like, in real life, if I adopted someone, I'd probably adopt at like 7 or 8. But in the game, I wanted like a baby for them to like grow up with. So, the child's name is Christopher, and it's the only boy in the house. It's the only boy in the house. Well, it was. So then I got. There's the generic goth family.
Oh yeah, the goth family.
Yeah, Esmeralda became really good friends with the daughter, Cassandra, because they were at the gym because Esmeralda is a 10 level fitness. So
You've been grinding.
no, like that's what she came with.
She
She just automatic 10 fitness. So yeah, she met Cassandra Goth, the generic character, at the gym, and they became like mega best friends. And so I'm like, yo, can I just bring her to my house? And then it turns out I could, and I was also able to steal like $50,000 from the Goth family. So I'm like, let's go. I'm gonna bankrupt you.
So
It's mine.
I don't know if you knew, but in The Sims 4, none of the other Sims games, but like, if you create a same character on that same exact save, they'll all just grow up. Yeah, they'll grow up too. Even if you're playing as another family, they'll grow up too.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so like, also if you're playing like as that family, the Goth family will eventually get old and die.
Wow.
Like there's actual simulation, but yeah, just something to
Interesting.
keep in mind.
Sure.
Just in case you get too attached to a family and you're like, where'd they go? And it's like,
Dead.
oh shit, they're dead.
Dead.
Because you run across their grandchild or something.
Like what? So, Samantha, the main character, is a level 5 writer, and
That's a
she
good
self-published at first, but now she can like actually publish. Esmeralda is a starting athlete. I didn't really know what to pick for her career, but I'm like, she is a 10 level fitness.
Yeah, that's...
I think
yeah.
athlete is probably the best bet in this.
Yeah.
So I sent her to athlete. Christopher is a toddler, so he has no job.
What, you can't force your child to get a job? It's just not immersive enough.
You can't force 2-year-old to commit child labor? What?
Well, wasn't it like The Sims 2 where you could like force your cats to have jobs?
What?
Yeah, they could read newspapers and they could like get cat jobs.
Oh my god.
It was so
Let's go.
I'm telling you, The Sims 2 is the perfect Sims game.
Probably. And then Cassandra, she was in high school when she moved in, so her job was school. But I didn't know what to pick for her really. She was like average at everything. So I'm like, I want to do something cool. So now she's a secret agent. She's a secret agent. And then when she got her boyfriend, who is now just moved in, that's the 5th member of the family, and working with just the tiny little fucking mouse pad is a pain in the ass to control 5 people. Yeah. He was older than her, but like not by much. He was still like a young adult. But he didn't have a job either, so I was really tempted to put him in criminal. To go from secret agent to criminal.
Ooh, we're getting some real roleplay here. Shit.
But then I was like, I imagined this generic white guy in my head in a business suit. I'm like, oh my god, this is a fucking financial expert in a heartbeat. So now he's a business major.
Just like lock him in like a tiny little square for eternity.
I actually like trying to keep my people alive. So yeah, I've been adding a bunch of random rooms to my house because originally it's like a decent sized house, right? But
just zoom out, it's just a monstrosity. Is that what it is?
Now I've added like 4 more rooms, but like there's like a space in the middle of all the rooms because I didn't line them up properly. So now there's like a bunch of doors that lead to nothing.
It's like the Winchester Mansion. Fuck.
And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Or like it'll destroy half of another room, so I have to like delete it and then rebuild it, and then shit's a pain in the ass. So I'm just like, I'm done. I'm just gonna let it exist the way it is. So yeah, that's my gaming schedule. That's The Sims. Hades slaps. straight up, this is a sidetrack. Hades is so good. I got to the end when I got to like the surface and it was like snowy or whatever, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to fight Hades, aren't I? And then there's Hades in a giant crown. He's got a cape and shit. I'm like,
I thought
oh
you were
my
gonna say mech
god,
suit for a second.
oh my god. Literally, the final weapon you unlock is a gun.
What? What? I was not expecting that in Greek mythology.
Like they give it a Greek name, but like he says I'm out of ammo when he's out of ammo. So like there's ammunition and guns in a Greek mythology story. And it's like out of place, but it's kind of funny.
Maybe that's why I didn't win Game of the Year. It was because there was a gun in
There
it.
was a gun in it. No, that's why Last of Us won, because it was guns.
Oh.
It's silly. Also gay, but we don't talk about.
Dragon Age Inquisition didn't have guns. Oh, but it was really gay.
They like it gay in their games.
Is God of War gay?
No.
I always thought that was a very bro game. No, Red Dead is a very bro game. Oh my god.
If you have any homosexuals playing Red Dead or GTA for that matter, they're gonna be in for some shit for sure.
Yeah. Rockstar will just.
It's just time to ruin your day, you know. So yeah, that's my gaming schedule. So yeah, that took an hour, but that's the media portion. We might do this every week. Hopefully, it's not an hour long each time, but yeah, that's what we wanted to start with. So what do you think we should hop into next? You have anything you want to really talk about?
No.
Not really. All right, so
No.
I get into awards a lot. Yeah, like it doesn't mean anything, and a lot of it's more just for fun or just to have trivia knowledge of random bullshit. But I really like the Game Awards and the Oscars for the most part. I came up with a formula for the Game Awards. You guys use this, and you will win Game of the Year. All right, I'm gonna say the formula real quick. All right, so it's 5 steps. 5 steps. All right. Number 1 for predictors. All right, has to be in the top 20 highest rated of that year on Metacritic for critics. Every single game, even Dragon Age Inquisition, had a version in the top 20. Number 2 has to be nominated in director. Doesn't have to win, as we've seen twice now. It doesn't have to win. But if you're not nominated in director, you're not winning. Number 3, it has to come out the first half of the year, so January to June. I know technically it should be like December to May, but they won't include anything from the previous year, so it's January to June. And finally, it has to win a quote-unquote genre type game. So this includes action game, action adventure, RPG, multiplayer, family, sim strategy, indie, and there's like a couple of more, but those are the big ones that you have to win. Every single game has won a genre type. Sometimes it's the only thing it wins before Game of the Year.
So you're saying Elden Ring will win?
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
I'll actually. It might change later in the year. I do want to kind of keep up with the award stuff. So my 6 right now for Game of the Year nominees, not winners, although we know who's going to win.
Just predictions.
Predictions.
Yeah,
Elden Ring, Horizon, Forbidden West has no shot at winning, but it's going to get like double digits. I'm telling you right now. God of War Ragnarok, I put this at 3, although I have a feeling it might not count. Because when I looked up last year's deadline, it was the 17th.
Yeah.
And God of War Ragnarok is the 9th. So it'll only have like a week to marinate. So I don't know if enough people are going to love it in that week to nominate it for that. So I should put it at 6 as a very hesitant. If it gets in, it'll get a fuckload of nominations. Or it's going to get completely snubbed. That's my two guesses. Is I don't think they're gonna nominate for like 4 things. I think it's gonna be for a bunch or nothing. That's my guess. I have an indie in here, Tunic. It's super highly rated. Indies get in sometimes.
Indies don't win though because people hate indies. Indies not good because not mainstream enough.
That's true. Celeste, Hades are the 2 big ones. Really, the only 2 major
And people still
indies that have gotten in.
talk about Celeste to this day.
Absolutely. Hades, as you can hear from what I said, is still very popular. I'm still playing it, even though I just started. Number 5, I have a bit of a controversial one. Last of Us Part 1.
No, that makes sense because it's the Game Awards and
They have a bit of a bias against Naughty Dog until The Last of Us. So when it was with Spike TV,
yeah.
Uncharted 2 lost. That's not true. Uncharted 2 won, but that was the only Naughty Dog game to win. So the first one didn't win, the third one didn't win, The Last of Us didn't win. Then when it became just the Game Awards, Uncharted 4 lost.
Then who won in 2013 then?
GTA 5.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So yeah, their only real win for Naughty Dog was like over a decade in the making. Like it was more of like a we have to give it to you sometime, sort of.
They'll make up for it. They're making up for 2013. Is that what you're saying?
Basically,
Yeah.
and then they gave it the biggest sweep in Game Awards history. It was 7.
Yeah.
But I mean, we all knew when that game dropped that it was gonna kind of go off during awards. At least I thought so. And then the Game Awards, which is actually like the earliest Game Awards show, which is stupid. That should be like the last one. It should lead into that.
Yeah.
But I guess they don't want to do that because they want to get the December ratings for sales and shit. Because January is an awful month for like ad revenue. So they want to drop it in December when they can have like Christmas sales. So I get why for monetary reasons they do it. But then every December game gets snubbed and they don't get nominated the next year. So it's like, that's stupid. And I don't know why. They just, or like wait till February then. Like the first week in February to do it. And then like nominations come out in January. Yeah.
Nothing really happens in January, so just wait till January is the month everyone moves on from right away as soon as it's January.
Basically, yeah. It's the aftermath of Christmas and New Year's, and it's the bland month. And of course, that's the month of my birthday. That's cool. Yeah, my last pick is a Nintendo pick. Now, Nintendo gets in often. They didn't get in for 2 years, but as I'm about to tell you, they can get in over games that looked like guarantees. They can just swoop in and like pop off. So the first year, they got in with Bayonetta 2. Now technically that was on other consoles, but it was really big on the Wii U. That's why they ported it over to the Switch. And especially because now Bayonetta is Nintendo only.
She's coming back.
Then, I guess that might not count, but I think that kind of counts. The next year, they get in with Super Mario Maker in Game of the Year over stuff like Her Story, Ori and the Blind Forest, Life is Strange, Tales from the Borderlands, Until Dawn, Batman Arkham Knight. Like, this fucking level creator, this Nintendo level creator, gets in over every indie imaginable.
Better calm down because Nintendo fans are actually crazy. So
I know, but like, I'm just saying, I'm telling you, Nintendo can get in with random shit over stuff that seems like locks, right? Then, here's 2016. It was a crowded year and they didn't get in, especially because 2016 was just a bad year for Nintendo in general. But 2017 was maybe the best year for Nintendo.
Oh yeah, Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild wins Game of the Year. and they actually get Mario Odyssey in. Both get 6 nominations each, right? Both win at least one award. Breath of the Wild won 3. So they had a hell of a year that year, right? And then, like, you look down at some of the other games nominated too, and there's stuff that is also really popular, on Nintendo, like Cuphead, even though that wasn't originally on Nintendo. They kind of got second lives on Nintendo. And so it's like, you just hell of a year for them, you know. That's their one and only win for Nintendo, is Breath of the Wild, which makes sense, though.
So far, yeah.
So far. I'm going to honestly say Breath of the Wild 2 wins next year over Starfield.
If Starfield is even nominated.
That's true.
Well, I'm just worried Breath of the Wild is going to be... Breath of the Wild 2 is just going to be the same game as last time, but with a new color, a new coat of paint. Because the thing, every Zelda game is unique in its own way. Because it's like, oh, this is a new Zelda
now
game.
they're in the
Let's
sky
do
this
something new.
No, it's like
something
Skyward
new.
Sword. It's okay.
Yeah, but Skyward Sword at least was new.
That's true.
You know.
So yeah, 2018 was also crowded, and they didn't get in. Those are the 2 years they didn't really get in. 2019, because of the rule that no games in December can get in, Smash Brothers, which is the biggest game from Nintendo that year, and considered by sales the biggest fighting game of all time, technically, it didn't get in. And 2019 was a bit of a kind of not that crowded of a year, so Smash Brothers gets in to Game of the Year over other 2019 games because it was just that popular, and also Nintendo needed to get in. Then 2020, it's another crowded year, and over stuff like Half-Life Alyx, 13 Sentinels. You have stuff like Ori and the Will of the Wisps. You have like quite a few. Spider-Man Miles Morales is another big one that didn't get in. They were able to sneak in Animal Crossing New Horizons into Game of the Year. It only got 2 nominations, including Game of the Year.
I was hoping that would win.
Because, like, that was a huge cultural phenomenon right when the pandemic hit.
Yep.
So, like, if that won Game of the Year, it would have been a very pleasing win, I feel like. Then in 2021, over games like Guardians of the Galaxy, which won narrative, Life is Strange True Colors, Returnal, Forza Horizon 5, which won 3 awards,
Weird.
Cyberpunk 2077. A lot of people at this point actually liked the game. But now they get Metroid Dread in with only 2 nominations again. So they snub top tier shit to get a Nintendo game in there, even if they only get like 1 other nomination. So I'm going to assume Nintendo's going to get it again. So I'm thinking, is it Xenoblade 3? Is it Splatoon 3?
It's Splatoon.
And then I thought, no. Bayonetta 2 got in. And then I remembered, oh shit, Bayonetta 3 is supposed to come out this year. They've shown gameplay for it. Actually, a decent bit of gameplay for it already. So now I'm thinking, that's the 6th slot. That gets in as the Nintendo game. And that's my 6 for your Game of the Year. Any objections? Anything you want to add? Stuff you change?
I wouldn't change anything yet, because there's still a lot of indie games that are coming out, August, September-ish, near the fall, that I'm looking forward to, like,
I also want to see if Saints Row, the new one,
I do want to see if
gets
how
popular,
good it is.
and if somehow Gotham Knights is good. I highly doubt it, but if it is, that could be pretty big. Because they liked Batman Arkham Knight, even though that's like the worst of the trilogy.
Yeah, but Arkham Knight. I mean, our Gotham Knights doesn't really look
good.
Great.
I know. I'm yeah. But like you got to look out for other contenders. You know, indies are way less than Nintendo. I just wanted to prove my point that Nintendo can get in a year with a ton of shit. So that and in this year is not that crowded really. I'm actually kind of scrambling trying to put some stuff into a 6 because I highly doubt Halo's gonna get in.
Yeah. Sadly, because controversy. It's not a good game. It's a shop, guys. Sorry. I don't want to get into Halo fans right now either.
So yeah, that's my 6. If I had to have a 7, I would put Halo at 7 because that's gonna get score and sound.
Yeah.
And then action game. So like it could get 4 at the end of the day, but I'm just not gonna go out on a limb and say that. For me personally,
I think this year for gaming, I'm gonna do something a little different. I don't know. I think since indies are gonna start coming out more now than towards the fall, I think I'm gonna go out of my way and try and find my game of the year instead of just playing the mainstream games.
And then picking one as your game of the year.
Picking one, yeah.
I don't play enough games. I'm too slow. So like, I mean the games I play are good. But I don't play enough games in a year to have a diverse outlook. And I'm really bad with playing indie games. I'm very much I like this series and it's from a big developer, so I'll pick it. As opposed to, look at this tiny indie that looks not that fun, but I should probably play it anyways, and it's also cheaper than other options. I could find my game of the year that way. I'm just really bad.
You have to do all the research that goes in just to make sure it's good, and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I just lost my I get what you're talking about. It's a lot easier to just go find a AAA game than go, oh, this indie I hear is good. I'm gonna buy it and not like it.
Well, that was like 12 minutes last year. There was a trailer for that in 2019, and no one talked about it. But I was like, ooh. 12 minutes. I'm going to keep an eye on this one. And then nothing about it until 2021. And then that shows up again. And it has a gnarly cast. And I'm like, oh shit. This is a must play from me. And now I have it. And I'm going to play it soon.
See if it's good or if everyone is right about it being okay.
Mixed.
Yeah.
So... yeah, I mean, I have some other topics if you want to, unless you have another topic that came to mind.
No, we can keep going. Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So, since it's the first episode, I wanted to sort of like get to know us a bit, So I think we should do a favorites, sort of.
Oh yeah, we should have started with.
We probably should have started with this,
yeah.
But now we're almost an hour and a half deep, so I'm sorry about that. So, I'm going to come up with some questions, and then we're going to answer them. And they're all of our favorite things. Just general, nothing too specific. So, let's start with favorite movie. You go.
That's tough, because I keep switching back and forth a lot. It used to be Blade Runner 2049, and then it wasn't. It was Monty Python, and then it wasn't. But I think right now, in this state, is definitely Starship Troopers, because, reading more into the book and then stopping, because it's boring as hell. Doing research, it just makes the movie a lot better, and I appreciate it as a satire, and how relevant it is today. How much America's ego is, how big it is, we're the good guys, we've never been bad, we've never lost, we're the good guys.
We're the good guys.
There's nothing wrong, we don't make the bad guys look wrong, we're not nationalists at all.
No.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff, I think it's funny, but the last time I watched it, I kind of like shut my brain off and was like, I'm just gonna see what it's like as a dumb action movie, and it's a dumb action movie.
Absolutely. Don't look into the context. No.
It's a dumb action movie that I found out I was cheering for fascists, and I'm like, holy shit, was that propaganda?
Wait a minute.
Is it easy to fall under fascist regimes? Huh.
Let's not think about it. All right. My favorite movie, I found this out recently, is Grave of the Fireflies. For the longest time, I had The Shining, because I saw that when I was like 10, and I'm like, oh shit, this changed. It's like blew my mind. Because like I hated slow movies, but I was able to sit through this, eyes like glued to the screen. Love Jack Nicholson, love the score, the giant lavish hotel they built as like an addition to like an actual hotel is insane. I think it's shot gorgeously. The sound design is great. I didn't know this stuff as a kid. Looking at it now, I'm like, oh yeah, it's still easily top 3 for me. Then I went through a Ghibli marathon. I watched all 24-ish Ghibli movies. And one night, because Grave of the Fireflies isn't available on HBO, but every other one is available on HBO. So I looked it up on YouTube to see if I could like rent it or something. And then I found just a pirated copy of it. So I'm like, oh shit. And it was like midnight by this point. So I'm like, alright, I'm going to watch this. The first half I really digged, but I was sort of like hesitant. The very opening was weird. But that second half had me crying for the next 40 minutes. And then when the film cut to credits, I audibly said, and it's like 1:30 in the morning, I like audibly almost yelled, "Fuck you," as I proceeded to like bawl my eyes out, right? I've never done that during a movie before. Just like that visceral reaction of just pure emotion. I've never had that in a movie before. And I immediately gave it a 10. Like immediately. And the more I thought about it, the more I looked into it, I'm like, okay, this is like definitely like probably my favorite of all time. And then I was hesitant to watch it again because it was so goddamn sad. But I saw it again in English. The first time I saw it was in Japanese. And I'm like, it's still so goddamn good. The soundtrack is phenomenal. It's probably like top 3 Ghibli like soundtracks. Although Mononoke and The Wind Rises are really goddamn close. But yeah, that's probably my favorite movie.
Mononoke was good though.
I didn't love it as much as you did, but that's
I
fine.
like Mononoke. Yeah. I thought the themes were generic, but I did. Maybe
Alright.
since I'm a Zelda fan, maybe that's why.
Alright. Favorite TV show, if you have one.
Oh yeah, that's easy. I think it's Community. No, wait. No. I might actually give this to Community. Yeah. I was gonna say Freaks and Geeks, but I think it would have been better if it had a longer life.
Sure.
But it didn't. But yeah, definitely Community. I think the cast is perfect. And even Chevy Chase, I know a lot of people hate him, but I think he plays a racist old guy very well. But I think what the show proves very well is that you can have a very diverse cast of characters that have nothing in common, and they can still have good chemistry with each other. They can still work together, and it's very Breakfast Club also-ish, if you know what I mean. They all share their problems with each other in just one small room.
But
That's
it's like
how
a
they start
comedy.
out the episodes, but it's like a comedy.
Sure.
A very funny comedy. I laughed so much during the show.
You saw all 6 seasons, right?
I stopped at season 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's why my opinion is probably invalid. But yet again, I don't watch many shows.
Sure.
But I think this is a show that I would watch over and over again. And also, I want to say I appreciate when media can balance tone very well. Like, it's funny, but like also at the same time, you can fucking bawl your eyes out because something happens
Sure.
that makes you cry. But it hooked on to me because it seems like it was written for me because, it's very our generation type of humor.
Like wacky, insane shit.
Wacky, insane shit. It can go from just funny school comedy episode to zombie apocalypse episode where everyone's a zombie. Yeah, like shit gets
Jesus.
like and it has the best episode I've ever seen on TV ever. I think people who've watched Community know what I'm talking about. Like this shit was like the best thing you will ever watch on TV ever, which is obviously the episode that involves multiple dimensions.
Which I find so strange.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought it was like another Office comedy, but then you tell me, yeah, there's an episode with other dimensions, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Just like, I haven't seen it, but I'll take your recommendation to heart. I might have to borrow your copy of Community.
Oh, I just watch it on Netflix.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Alright.
It's like, I think season 4 was definitely a drag, but like, they call it the gas leak season because like they changed the writers
And
stuff.
also got rid of Chevy Chase.
Also got rid of Chevy Chase. I don't think he ever returns again, but yeah, Chevy Chase. Yeah, I don't think the show's kind of the same without him.
Like, they needed the racist old
They
man
needed
dynamic.
the racist old guy dynamic. It's kind of like a dynamic that if one doesn't exist, the others kind of don't really work out.
Sure. Everyone needs everyone.
Everyone needs everyone, and
Okay.
that's why it works so well.
Sure.
But yeah,
I'm in the same boat. I don't watch enough TV.
yeah.
Everything that I watch for TV is like an 8 out of 10, so it feels weird saying this is my favorite. So I'll list 3 that are really good, but I don't have enough confidence in saying is my favorite. Regular Show is so goddamn good. I laugh so much during the dumb bullshit of Regular Show. And like, Amazing World of Gumball's in the same boat, but I watched a lot more Regular Show. And I binged the first like 4.5 seasons in like a week. And I loved every minute of it. Like, it's so creative. And the characters are so just defined. And like, you can do, like, even an episode of I Want a Grilled Cheese is so fucking funny. Like, I just think that show as an animated like work is probably my favorite like animated show. Then
Well, I want to chime in with the Regular Show. The fact that it like seems like an Adult Swim show, but like isn't, I really appreciate too.
absolutely.
I think it makes it funnier because it's on a kids network. But
And
it
like
seems
their
like an
swears
adult
are like,
show.
you're ticking me off, man. Like,
Yeah.
like non-swears like said as hard as a swear. Like, I just find that really funny. Right as I say that's my favorite animated, I'm gonna backtrack and I'm gonna say Neon Genesis Evangelion. I'm not an anime boy like at all. I've seen this, Ghibli, and like a couple episodes of Cowboy Bebop. Like, that's it. My anime is extremely limited, and it's to the most popular stuff. But the show is so goddamn hit or miss. The final 2 episodes, I know everyone says, oh, if you don't love it, you're not a fan. But, like, those last 2 episodes are really bad. They're really bad. And it's purely budgetary. Purely budgetary. The movie that came out afterwards, the end of Evangelion, is so goddamn good. And I think instead of watching those last 2 episodes, you should head straight into the movie. Just skip the last 2 episodes.
Does it
It's
even
fine. Don't-
matter?
No, because in the last 2 episodes of Evangelion, he learned, like, every character goes through the Human Instrumentality Project, which is basically, in the Rebirth series, they actually explain what the fuck it is, but basically, the main scientist guy wants to bring back his dead wife, but he has to use an Evangelion to resurrect him, or her, so he needs everyone's minds to be connected as one, and that's what it is. But in the original series, I still don't have a fucking clue what it's supposed to be. So I just know that the main character is in it, and he learns to be accepted by his peers and his like figures, like his parental figures, and the show ends on a happy note, which makes no goddamn sense because everyone's arc is I'm suicidal and want to die. So to end with everyone's cheering for him is really weird and like misplaced in tone. And I know there's a lot of criticism that I'm giving right now, but the show as a whole is gorgeously animated, except for the last two episodes. That's budgetary, sorry. Then the score is so good. Oh my god, the score for this show slaps. Every time I hear a theme, I'm like, oh shit, here we go, like, I get into the music a lot. The main character's a fuckboy, but I like the rest of the characters quite a bit. I think the fight scenes are amazing. I think
Well, it's anime, so
I
don't
know,
what you
like that's
expect.
hard to fuck up, but like it's so good. Like as an action show that goes into deeper themes of like loneliness, I connected quite a bit with the main character, and like a lot of the rest of the characters. How a lot of them feel like pressure to live up to something, or they feel pressure to try and mean something, and I definitely connected with that a lot, and I think the themes of the show, while all over the place, do have a personal connection with me quite a bit, although I am going to say the fourth Rebirth movie is the best thing to come out of the series, but I know a lot of people don't like that opinion. Whatever. Finally is a live action show. Definitely, probably, Our Flag Means Death. I know that's a new show, and I'm thinking, well, I want a live action show, but like, I've only seen a couple. I'm not too into it. Like, I've seen Stranger Things, but I won't call that like my favorite. And my mother watches The Office and Friends nonstop, so I know almost every joke in every episode, and I've grown to hate both of them. That's because of overexposure. They're still good. I know you hate Friends, but like I can tolerate it a decent amount.
Despise Friends. I don't find it funny besides Paul Rudd at
Paul
all.
Rudd, let's go.
Every time Paul Rudd shows up, I'm like,
He saves
Yo.
this. He saves it.
yo, Paul Rudd. Is that Paul Rudd?
Paul Rudd. There's a cameo that Billy Crystal and Robin Williams make in one of the episodes at the very beginning, and it's so funny. It's Billy Crystal is sleeping with Robin Williams' wife, and like Robin Williams like goes ape shit, but like the six friends are sitting at the two couches in the cafe, so like Robin Williams and Billy Crystal are like scoot the hell over, right? So they like have nothing else to do but eavesdrop. So like they keep trying to chime in, and they're like, "This is personal shit," but like they're screaming about it, and it's like serious stuff like cheating or whatever. But like Robin Williams sells it because he's a king.
He is the,
He's
he's
a
the king of
king.
comedy.
He is the king, my dude. So yeah, I'll say Our Flag Means Death. I love the relationship between Rhys Darby and Taika Waititi. I don't actually know if Blackbeard was a gay motherfucker, but I really want to believe he was. It has a bit of a weird ending because they escape from prison, and Taika's like, "Meet me down in the boat in an hour, and we'll sail away together on this brand new life." And then Rhys Darby just abandons him. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck? What? So he goes back to his wife that he left. And the next two episodes, or I guess the finale, the last episode, is he got cold feet and he wasn't sure if he was making the right choices. So he tried to go back to his normal life. But they've moved on and like without him. So he basically comes to accept that I've made the choices that I made, and I have to stick with them. And he's still in love with Taika Waititi. And there's not like a bunch of judgment from the wife character. She's like, good for you, man. Good for you. I found love. It's good for you to find it too. And I find that quite nice. Because in reality, he probably would have been lynched, but we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
This is a pirate show?
This is a pirate show.
Holy shit.
I know. The side characters are kind of funny. There's like an extremely queer black character with a beanie. I find that really funny. There's a lady that dresses as a dude. It's a very LGBT show. And like I know a lot of people won't love it, but Taika is great as Blackbeard. He gives a great intimidating performance. There's some scenes in the final episode where he like cuts off people's toes and shit when he's like reverting back to Blackbeard mode, and he is so good. And like he abandons people on an island to die. Like he kills a bunch of people. Like Taika's so good in this show as like a bitch, but as like a great person also. And I'm excited it got a season 2. So yeah, those are my 3. I can't pick from any of those. Those are just my 3 favorite TV shows.
Yeah, shows are
Here you
kind of hard, was
There's a
dragged
lot more
out.
time, but if
Yeah.
you're in a good show, it won't matter much.
I think at least a good show is something that you can watch over and over again without getting tired.
So, favorite game. We both know it, but or unless yours has changed.
Mine's I conflict a lot, but my number one will probably always stay the same forever, and it'll always be Ocarina of Time. I'm not gonna change it ever. Like, not only was this the first game from memory that I've ever played, so it's purely nostalgia based, but fuck you, I don't care. But like the feeling that when I play this game is nothing compared to anything else. Like when I play Mass Effect or something, I'm like, oh yeah, I love these characters. Of course, it's gonna hurt when it's over. But
Sure.
but then I get a completely different feeling. It's like when I played Ocarina of Time or any Zelda game, for the matter of fact, it's like I feel like I'm a kid again. And when that's the entire point of Ocarina of Time is just, you can't go back to your childhood, no matter how badly you want to, because you're no matter, even if you go back to it, you'll still have to face the horrors of your adult life. And I really do find that touching a lot. And not only that, but it was very revolutionary for the time being. First 3D game. One of the first. The transition to 3D.
I was about to say it's not one of the
Yeah,
first.
yeah,
but-
yeah. And I do agree there are a lot of janky things, like the time travel mechanic is questionable, and it does create
Dated
plot
but
holes.
good.
Yeah, it's very dated, but
Very good. Basically.
holds up very well narratively too. Even if you don't pay attention to the narrative that much.
Do you hate the Navi thing though?
Yeah.
Weird
That's
thing that
fucking
falls-
annoying.
yeah.
After you play the game multiple times, though, yeah, she does get really annoying. And also, I think I want to say this was the first Zelda game where Zelda wasn't as much of a sidekick as she was. I mean, she still is kind of a sidekick, but she more takes center stage of not being
She's a character.
as much of a damsel in distress. But yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I could go on for hours about the soundtrack alone is by
Bangin'.
far the greatest soundtrack I've ever fucking heard. And you cannot change it any other way. The feeling you get when Sheik arrives, just the theme, it's just like
Cream.
this is a friend. I can trust her. I mean him. I don't want to spoil it.
Well, I mean,
But,
we've been
yeah,
spoiling
everyone
things
knows
that,
it's Zelda, but yeah, it's just and the fact that the world ends because children want to be heroes, they want to be adults, is also like very touching as someone who just became an adult. Where it's like, looking back on it, like you always wanted to be what like an adult, but then all of a sudden it's like,
Well, now I want to go back to
yeah,
childhood.
I don't really want to be an adult anymore.
I think that plays into a lot of irony. I think definitely. Yeah, I don't want to pay for an N64 original or
Yeah.
the expansion pass on Nintendo Online. So I'm not gonna be able
Oh
to
my
play it
God,
anytime
going-
soon.
Yeah, fuck the water temple.
Alright.
I know you've heard that a million times, but seriously, fuck that level designer. Oh shit.
Okay, so my favorite game is also purely nostalgia.
Yeah.
As a game, even back in the day, it was dated because it was 2D
But it did
everything on a 3D platform and janky as shit. But I think my favorite game of all time is Twisted Metal 2. It is so fucking fun to just get obliterated and then to obliterate other people, or to like know the secrets of you can blow up the Hollywood building and then it'll be like a funny swear word or like you can destroy the Eiffel Tower on the Paris map and you can drive on top of the buildings and shit and have like aerial combat, like that shit's so bad. Or in the Antarctica level where it's this giant map that just shrinks and disintegrates over the course of the map, and you can plunge into the depths of fucking hell if you aren't fast enough. Just like,
What?
it's so good. The ocean is what I mean, but I just said it like that. You get plunged into the ocean and lose one of your lives if you're not fast enough. Like a permanently degenerating map in a PS1 game, I think is insane. But
Did spin off a lot of knockoffs though. Twisted Metal did.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like hundreds of
the
those.
soundtrack, like the game disc, even when I was younger, was corrupt. So the score is like always like like dying, but like even like listening to it like on non-corrupt footage, it's not the greatest thing ever, but like that's ingrained into my mind forever now. I have played this game since I was like 8, and I kept my PS2 purely for that, just to play Twisted Metal 2. The only reason why I kept it. And I wouldn't get rid of it ever. It might die, because it's an old piece of shit, but if I don't have to, I'm going to keep it so I can play Twisted Metal. I think the characters are simple, the gameplay is fun, janky, but fun, and like co-op is awesome. The boss fights are insane. Just like hearing the music as he gets closer, like the minion boss on the lava level, where you have to like drive on narrow pathways and you can like destroy temple walls and there's like an underground section and stuff. Or there's like Tokyo, or is it Shanghai? Not sure. There's the giant final level where like you can go through a bunch of tunnels and like drive on the walls a little bit. Like the level design's great. I love the levels. I think the characters are simple, they're defined, and they're really fun. And this is when cheat codes were still around.
Oh fuck.
So like you can type in a cheat code and get a character, and you're like, oh shit, here we go. I get to play as this guy now, and it's like so like rewarding. The story mode is goofy as shit. You're just a dude that wants a wish, and when you get to the end of the levels, the main guy running the show fucks you over on your wish because he takes it very literally. So the character I always played was Warthog. He's like a 110-year-old man in an old tank. And when I got to the end, his cutscene was, I want my body to be young again. So he's like, your wish is granted. So now his body is like young and hot, but his head is old and fucking disgusting. And I just find that so funny. Like, it doesn't take itself seriously, like something like Twisted Metal Black. It's very goofy. It's very out there. Again, not the greatest game, but my favorite.
Right, so then the series declined. They got rid of the funny.
So I haven't actually played any outside of 1 and 2. Sorry, 2 and 3. But from what I've seen from like retrospectives and stuff, the fourth one has none of the mainstay characters except for the clown, Sweet Tooth. The rest are all brand new and has awful CGI cutscenes.
Oh yeah, I've seen them. Oh yeah, I have seen those. Believe it or not.
Twisted Metal 4, let's go. And then they had some spin-offs that did poorly, but everyone's favorites are 2 and Black. And I need to play Black for sure. Like, I know I should. And that one makes more sense. It gets rid of the goofy shit, but it also, like, updates the tone a lot more. Like, so you don't know if people are losing their goddamn minds because they're in an insane asylum, or if, like, it's actually happening. It sort of plays into that fear. And there's, like, characters where, like, they're getting beaten the shit out of and, like, tortured and shit. There's, like, characters that are, like, suicidal, or there's, like, a psychopath. Like, it takes these goofy characters and, like, grounds them. Like, yeah, this character's goofy, but, like, strip that away. He's actually batshit insane, and we shouldn't, like, be rooting for him, you know? It's a very dark game from what I've seen. But, yeah, those are the two ones that people like the most. I don't know if it declined. Sort of, like, not as popular, really.
Yeah, yeah, cause I know Twisted Metal kind of started a new genre trend with the arcade-ish death racing games.
It was, yeah, one of the major, like derby games is what I think is, like, a good, like, name for it, is a derby game.
So I'm sure people just got burned out by it by the time Black came out.
But that, like, sort of brought the series back a bit. And then the reboot did, too, a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's, like, the highest selling one still, which is weird. Because there's, like, actual racetracks in Twisted Metal, which is strange because there's never been a racetrack that I know of. Or maybe in one of the spin-offs there was, but in the main lines, there hasn't been, like, a racetrack. But in here, there's, like, death racetracks, and they're broken and nearly impossible because they didn't test them before releasing them.
Yeah.
So that's
Well,
a big.
that makes it more fun though, because it's like an actual death race.
Because, like, you want to die when you're done playing it. So yeah, Twisted Metal 2, my favorite. Let's move on. Favorite food.
Lasagna. There's nothing else to it. Just straight lasagna. I want my lasagna, John.
It's John. I think lasagna is good, but I'm a burger boy. You give me a good burger, I like it.
Just a burger, just a plain burger is nice.
Sometimes,
Depending if the meat's really good though.
I like a California mixed with, like, a bacon cheese. So you have, like, the lettuce, onions, ketchup, mustard, bacon. I do like cheddar, but I think American is a bit more...
American.
Not the reason why. American cheese is a bit more, like, softer of a taste, I feel like. Cheddar's got a very bold taste. So I like American a bit more. It's a bit softer. Yeah. And, like, sometimes you can... I've had a breakfast burger, and that was really good. It had, like, runny eggs, and that had, like, bacon, sausage.
On a bun?
It was a bun. They could have done toast, but it was on a bun.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Alright, favorite drink?
Water.
Okay, outside of water.
Water.
It's like if it was like a pop or like an energy drink, or like outside of water.
I don't like energy drinks like at all, and things that have too much caffeine. I'll have like one, or too much sugar. I'll have a little bit. Like Mountain Dew, I'll have like one can,
and then you're like, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm good. But otherwise, root beer.
Root beer.
Root beer.
Specific brand or just root beer?
Just root beer.
All right.
Yeah, I don't really hate any. I prefer ones that have more of a vanilla taste to it because I like vanilla, but
Oh, okay.
that's kind of
Do you like orange vanilla or just vanilla?
Just vanilla. I mean, I do like orange vanilla, but vanilla is pog. So.
I agree with you that outside of water, which would probably be my favorite, I would have to say probably a Mountain Dew, but that hurts my stomach a lot.
Yeah.
So water, or I really like fruit punch. Like a good fruit punch is satisfying to have.
Fruit punch-
Absolutely.
For me, fruit punch, it's about the after. That's why I don't really like Hawaiian punch because it leaves this dry.
Okay.
I don't know how to.
Is
I don't
it
know
like
how to
too
explain
sugary
it,
or
but yeah, it kind of leaves this dry taste in my mouth. I don't know how to explain it, but it's yeah.
Also, if you
Stuff
drink
like that,
Dasani,
but-
you're weird.
Yeah.
You're weird.
That's why
I'd even say Aquafina.
Yeah, I'm
sometimes
sorry about
has
that,
the-
but my dad gets it for free, so
Well, that's fair. Yeah.
you know.
No joke. If you have Ice Mountain, that's the best fucking water you can ever have in terms of bottled water. Ice Mountain is so goddamn good. No joke. All right, favorite book, if you have one.
Oh, that's easy. I don't really read book. Well, I would say, yeah, definitely Watchmen. I
The
mean, I
comic
know that's a
Well,
comic book, but
That'd probably be a separate thing. So that's
yeah.
here. We'll do favorite comic book. Then you say Watchmen. My favorite comic book.
You can just stick with book. Yeah.
Book.
Yeah, we'll just
Okay.
stick with book. 'Cause
Okay.
I have a good one for book. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't read enough books, but a recent one that I really like is a book called Pizza Girl. It is a book about an 18-year-old Korean girl who just graduated high school, who's pregnant, and she becomes obsessed with one of the customers that orders pizza from the place that she works at. And the book follows relationships and obsession really well, because she becomes physically obsessed with her as well as mentally obsessed. She talks about her smell, and she talks about masturbating to this lady. She becomes fully obsessed, but it's also a book about parental trauma. Her father was an alcoholic, so she took a lot of traits from him. And the finale, spoilers, is she gets drunk with a baby, by the way, and she drives to this lady's new house because she moved, breaks in, is about to murder the husband, and she thinks she's saving this lady. Purely just obsessed to the point where her mind becomes distorted with ideas of heroism with this sort of stuff. And it has a very good outcome, I think. I think personally. But yeah, very good recent book.
Wow, that sounds like it should get a adaptation in Hollywood. Can't wait for Hollywood to ruin it.
To ruin it? Absolutely.
What? That was wild. Yeah, you never talked about Pizza Girl. I mean, you said you bought it, but you never really talked about it before. I thought you were going to talk about Hitchhiker's Guide for a second, but
Yeah.
Pizza Girl. Huh.
Yeah, Hitchhikers is good. I just hate the ending. A lot.
Well, there's more books though.
And I'm 50 pages deep into the sequel, and I'm bored as shit.
So that's why nobody talks about the sequels.
It doesn't recapture the same magic.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Alright, so what's your favorite,
My favorite
book?
book. Well, that's obvious. After reading Lord of the Rings, the dark fantasy. I mean, I wouldn't consider it dark fantasy, but it's darker. But after reading Lord of the Rings and then going to The Hobbit, it's very refreshing to get just a kid's book. It's not really
In the
a kid's
fantasy
book.
universe?
Yeah,
sort of?
in a fantasy, but it's not really a kid's book, but it is at the same time. It has a childish tone to it.
There's a lot of jokes in it. There's a lot of singing and stuff.
Yeah, it's dwarves versus goblins. they're smaller than orcs and humans, and they're like children. But I would say the one thing I didn't really like about The Hobbit was probably the fact that I think they just killed people off screen in the book. I just kind of like, oh yeah, by the way, this guy died. So did these two guys. You know who I'm talking about, the Thorin and Fili and Keely. At least I don't remember them having a gruesome death, but
Maybe you
otherwise,
just repressed it.
yeah, maybe I just repressed it because it was too traumatic or something. But yeah, it's just a like it. That's what the book does. It doesn't do like details. It's just like a simple book, and I just really appreciate that. And that sometimes it's just all you need. It's just a simple read. And that's why I always go back to it. Like, hey,
It's not like a giant dense story. Like
yeah,
Lord
it's
of the
not.
Rings.
It's not.
It's like a point A to point B. I mean, that's what Lord of the Rings is too. But
Well, that's what The Hobbit is too. They just
I know
from
it's
there to there,
one
it's
book as
just-
opposed to three.
yeah, and that's why I kind of hate the movies. 'Cause they
The
kinda-
Hobbit movies.
Yeah, they just don't
Okay.
recapture the.
It got too dense.
Yeah,
They added a bunch of shit. See, they should have kept with the duology, I think, because that's what it was planned to be. Was a duology, but then they filmed too much, and then like scheduling got fucked. So then they made a third one, and they all made money.
and I thought Del Toro would have been a great director making the grotesque goblins. If they
But
would've
no,
went
now
with
it's
the
CGI,
goblin route,
which is
but-
gross, because that's not what Peter Jackson's known for.
and they used orcs
Mm.
instead of goblins.
Whoopsie. Yeah. All right. So I guess now I got to do comic book. Again, I'm so bad with this. I don't read enough comics. Watchmen is great. I do have to admit, Watchmen is great. I also really enjoy the first, like, volume of Nightfall, Batman Nightfall. There's 3 mega volumes. The second one was boring as shit, and I'm not really wanting to touch the third one, but I have all of them. But like the first volume of Nightfall is great. Seeing Batman just wither, but like the human spirit as he tries to get every villain back into prison, and then Bane's just like, I'm going to destroy you, and then seeing like Robin trying to live up, but like he's being forced to not help by Batman, and there's like a second Batman that comes in who is Azrael, and he's like a more violent Batman, and I think that dynamic is cool. I think that is a very good. I wouldn't continue after. Maybe read like the last issues of Volume 3, like pirated somewhere probably. But yeah, Volume 1 of Nightfall is
Doesn't it
very good.
Turn out like Batman's like nurse turns out to have like special healing powers or some comic bullshit that resurrects him.
So he never died.
Yeah,
They
yeah, he didn't die, but like, yeah.
they say like he got like a really good back specialist to help him out, and Robin got a lot of technology. Like he had to go and take this technology to help Batman, so he is like an enhanced back. That's what I read. Maybe there's more. Again, I didn't read Volume 3, so couldn't really tell you everything. But that's what was in what I read.
And I assume because it was with the Superman Lives storyline too, with the death of Superman, that sort of
Around the same time.
Well, that was like Death of Superman kickstarted them killing a bunch of characters off. Like, we want to start fresh. Would you have liked Azrael as like the Batman? Because I assume that was the plan originally.
He would have been an interesting back, because like I think the two of them together as a dynamic is interesting, because Azrael's not afraid to kill. He's not afraid to do what Bruce can't in terms of like having a moral code, and he's also like being powered by his religion, and Azrael as a character is like conflicting, because like he does have a moral compass, but he also has to be Batman, and he thinks he's a better Batman, so he has a lot of this pressure, and he gets this suit to try and be better, and then he defeats Bane, which is nuts, because like Bane gets like kicked out of the story basically in the first half. But like,
Well, that's all in the first half of the story.
yes,
Jesus,
I know this is like a 4-year long comic run, including spin-offs and like side stories and shit. Like the 3 volumes is everything.
I did not
Nightfall.
think it lasted that long.
Everything Nightfall. So yeah, I think if I had to pick one, it would be that, or it would be the first volume of Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. Very funny, very down to earth. Kamala's a great character. I'm really not excited to watch the show. Those would be my 2 picks if I had.
Well, I would say Watchmen. I think Watchmen is one of the best pieces of media out there, but I think it's a very generic choice. A lot of people just go for Watchmen. So
I mean, that's totally. It's good, so it's not a bad pick at all.
yeah, but it's just very mainstream. I'm looking at Kingdom Come on the shelf, and I'm gonna say no. I love Kingdom Come, but I'm gonna go with All Star Superman.
Oh, is your second or is your first choice?
As well, I mean, I'd obviously have Watchmen there, but All Star Superman to me is, like the definitive Superman story. Like that's what made me realize why I like Superman in the first place. Like it's not the big action fights he gets into where he just beats guys up. It's not him saving the world. It's the fact that, like Batman, when he goes out on the streets, he's gonna go straight towards the supervillain. But Superman, before he gets to the big bad General Zod blowing up the city, he's gonna go save every damn kitten who's stuck in a tree. He cares about the little things, and that's something I like more about Superman than all the other superheroes. Because not superheroes don't really show that often that they're gonna go stop and just save a family who's burning under a building or something. They don't show that often, but I think that the Superman can get some criticisms because it weakens him in a way without spoiling it. I don't really want to spoil it.
Have you read it?
Yeah, I've read it, but it weakens him in a way, but also at the same time.
Is it like a reissue comic?
No, it's Elseworlds.
Oh, All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was
okay. I thought you meant the
part of
actual Death of Superman.
All-Star. It was the All-Star run when they were doing
I got
All-Star
confused
stuff.
because you jumped to a second thing. Like, what? Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
wait.
that's my
Yeah,
fault.
I got confused too. Well, I'm getting confused with what I'm talking about.
The Death of Superman in All-Star Superman.
I didn't read Death of Superman.
No, you're saying the Death of Superman.
Oh
in
yeah,
the
yeah,
story.
yeah, in the
All-Star
story.
Superman. Yeah,
Like
okay.
it kind of like weakens him a bit, which a lot of people, I guess, is not boring anymore because he's not super strong. But also at the same time, since he's on here longer, he gets more power. So like random bullshit powers appear out of nowhere. But also it leans more into the scientific side of Superman, where he's also a scientist. Like his culture is very scientific, the Kryptonian culture. There's a lot of Easter eggs to previous comics, but I also I never really understood the dynamic between Superman and Lex Luthor. Not even really in Smallville when I watched Smallville, and I love Smallville. But when I read this, I'm like, I understand why this is like the superhero and supervillain combination, like Batman and Joker. And it did pull at my heartstrings a lot when they just had their one-on-one confrontation right at the end. Because the whole point of Lex Luthor in the comic is, in this run at least, he's like, he wants to kill Superman because he's in his shadow, because he wants to be like the Superman. But Superman's trying to convince him, with all the power and money, you're just wasting it on trying to kill me instead of helping people. You could be me, but you just choose not to. It's kind of like pointing out, like, billionaires, like, you could be a great person, but you just choose not to. You have all that money, but you just choose not to. And yeah, it just leans into the comic book-ish nature, and I really appreciate that. I want to say more without spoiling it, but I don't want to spoil spoil it because you
Alright.
haven't read it.
No.
Yeah, and I highly recommend it. If you're it's the comic that everyone brings up. Like if someone says, "Oh, I don't like Superman because he's boring,"
They're
you-
like, actually.
you just read this, and I think you'll understand what makes Superman great.
Sure. Yeah, you brought up Death of Superman. For a birthday gift, I got an original '90s copy issue of the Death of Superman. It's in a plastic wrap right now. It's got a gray cover on the issue. I don't know the context beforehand, but I have the issue itself.
Yeah, I hear it's the Death of Superman is very messy itself because it's
Because
in
then,
continuity.
there's like a cyborg later, and then he gets resurrected and he has a mullet, and then there's like Superboy. Like, I don't know shit afterwards, but the issue itself is great, right? Like the Lois holding him is like iconic, you know. Like I think his battle with Doomsday is ruined by Batman versus Superman. Just saying, but yeah, very good issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have favorite toy as a kid?
Legos.
Legos.
Yeah, Legos. That's where my creativity came. My slight creativity came from. Like I wrote. There was one right when The Force Awakens was coming out. I was just playing with my Star Wars ones, and I'm telling you, I created the greatest Star Wars story you will ever hear, ever. No joke. With these Lego figures, it was about an ancient alien species that was very powerful in the Force, and there was only one of them left. And he was very, very powerful. Super powerful. Like, he was that villain that I just keep resurrecting if I couldn't think of any good ideas for a villain.
He's like, and then he's back.
There were
back.
I think there were 9 of them in total. Like, the first one was, like,
9
generic.
different stories you made.
Yeah, there was 9 different, like, in my head anyways. There was the generic pilot trooper who turns out he's force sensitive. And he falls in love with this Jedi lady.
That's like,
And then the Jedi lady turns evil, and then he convinces her to be good and fight the bad guy and kill him. Then the next one's a completely different story. It has also the sand people from the movies. Yeah, he had one of those as a sidekick. That's
yo.
pretty sick. He would just be the powerhouse. And then the second trilogy was just like a generic farmer. It was a generic farmer kid, and it turns out he's the chosen one.
Yo, let's go.
But you don't know what for, and it's later revealed he's destined to defeat the bad guy, and he meets up with the old crew, and then they fight him, and then his best friend dies, and then the next one, the next trilogy, there's this new bad guy, and he's killing he had a cool lightsaber. It was like a gun at the end, so he'd flip it around and flip
Jesus.
it back. It was sick. Yeah. And then it turns out that was his buddy the whole time. Yeah.
Pretty wacky.
He turns good at the end. Yeah. Otherwise, there was the one with the superheroes that was really sad called The Legend of P8. Sure.
Oh.
You I never finished that one because that's when I started losing my creativity with Legos.
Sure.
That shit slapped. Yeah. I had so many good memories with Legos. Just, people don't really play with them, but
They just have one.
yeah.
Did you destroy them and build other stuff, or did you keep them as the set itself?
I kept them as the set themselves, but they were only destroyed because other people came over to play with them.
And then destroyed them.
I think I don't really have OCD, but I have OCD for Legos.
Sure.
If there's a fucking piece missing, I'm gonna get
Pissy. Yeah. God damn it. Yeah. I think I would have to agree. Legos were huge. I had a piece missing from a Lego set. So I had my dad contact Lego, can you please give me this piece? And then I got a personal letter saying, yo, we're sorry about it. Here's this piece. And there's a tiny little fucking dot piece. But I'm I need this piece, god damn it. Because at the time, I was an idiot and I threw away the extra pieces. So it's like, oh, I don't need this, and I got rid of it. But then I'm like, oh shit, I needed it. God damn it. So that's why if I got a Lego set afterwards, I kept every piece. But I was huge into Bionicle. I got a giant tote from a cousin full of Bionicle. And that was like the thing that I played with for like 2 years straight. Was Bionicles that I got from my cousin.
Did you like mix and match them?
No.
Build your own? No, you just kept them?
I kept... my favorite one was... He looked, no joke, like General Grievous. He had an alien head with like spikes, and he had 4 arms. He had like claw legs, or like claw feet. He was tan colored, like straight up, just a knockoff of General Grievous.
I think I know which one you're talking about. Oh shit!
But yeah, that was my favorite one. And then because I played with them too much, the connector. So like, there's the ball, and like the connector piece. There's like the 2 round connector pieces. Because I kept playing with them too much and like moving them around, they would get worn out and then they would break. So like every time I would try to connect them, it would just fall off. So like then I would have to come up with a reason why he had like two or 3 instead of 4.
My arms were cut off.
God damn. I still am. Like, I don't play with toys a lot, but I like have some as like a fidget, sort of. So I like when I'm like coming up with an idea, I talk aloud and I have like a fidget in my hand, sort of just like, oh, this, and I'll just like fidget with this thing. I did that a lot as a kid too. Sort of like, oh, here's this story. It has nothing to do with this thing I'm holding, but I'm going to use it to act it out as like a fidget, sort of. Yeah. So,
Did you ever watch the shitty Bionicle movies?
no.
What?
No.
Dude, we're gonna have to watch one of them tonight.
Oh no.
There's like 5 of them, but I've only watched like 2 of them, and
I tried to read the book series.
Oh fuck!
I couldn't even get past like the first 10 pages of the first book, which was like the one with the red guy on it. He was like surfing on lava.
Yep.
I couldn't get past it. I was bored out of my goddamn mind.
Oh, but those 3D animated movies, those are Kino. That's some real
Dude,
Kino shit.
Adventures
right
of Clutch
Oh,
Powers.
fuck.
Dude, oh my god.
Oh,
The first Lego movie and the best
I
Lego
remember
movie.
wanting to have that on DVD so fucking bad.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
in our town, we used to have a movie rental place. I don't know if you ever went there. I don't want to say
No.
the town.
Yeah,
but,
I don't remember. I remember, going to the Coburn. That's
Yeah,
yeah,
I went there
rental.
later, but at first it was on Main Street. It was right when you would turn from 55 to a right. It'd be like right there.
Yeah, I don't
But
remember.
I would go in every week with my parents. They had these like pamphlets that like would show you the new releases coming up, and I would always look through it, and that's how I found out, oh my god, they're making a Thor movie? Holy shit. Or like, oh my god, there's a Captain America movie? Holy shit. Like, that's how I found out my movie news, was through this like homemade pamphlet that I would get, and it would have like the rating and like a synopsis of each movie and like a release date of when it would be coming out to the store. And I was like obsessed with this store. But then like stuff started going digital and they like shut down, and that sucks. I sort of miss those kinds of places because they also had like VHSs and shit. Like they went old school for some of them. But like that's how I found out about a lot of movies, was through this pamphlet, and a lot of stuff like I've still never seen, but I remember looking at a pamphlet or whatever. Like when The Dark Knight Rises came out, and the synopsis was 7 years since The Dark Knight, and I'm like, oh my god, it's been 7 years since The Dark Knight, and my mom's like, no, 7 years in the movie since The Dark Knight. I'm like, oh okay,
Yeah.
like, oh okay, that makes more sense. And then, I remember they had a small TV that was playing trailers next to the checkout counter, and they were playing a trailer for a piranha movie, like a piranha horror movie. I forgot which one it was called, but they were at a water park, and then somehow a fuckboat of piranhas got in and murdered a
That's
bunch of
awful.
people.
Holy shit.
And like when I was younger, I got scared of piranhas because of it. You know, like, oh my god, they're gonna eat me! But I don't think there's actually been a reported kill from a piranha, like ever.
Yeah, I thought they would just like fucking nibble.
Yeah, they don't have enough bite, and they don't, like, they are in swarms, and like they can mess up your shit, but like they're not gonna kill you.
I don't remember being afraid of, what were they called? They were like savannah fish or something, and they could like crawl on land for a bit because of there was I used to go camping with my grandparents in an RV, and they used to have this shitty small TV that was like that big, and they'd always play this one fishing channel, and there was one that had a documentary on this like fish that would like crawl on water, and there was this one shot that I remember very clearly. It was a pool, and then there was a baby that was outside for some reason, and then it was talking about how the fish could like get inside through the drain hole and then crawl on land for a certain amount of time. It was like the most dangerous fish in the world or some bullshit, and it was just the fish slowly crawling towards the baby, and the baby was
Imagine
just, like,
putting a baby in danger like that. Or you know what?
Yeah,
Here's
that was
probably
fucking
what happened.
terrifying.
They didn't release the fish. They just had one shot with the baby, then they had a separate shot of like the fish crawling towards the
That's
camera.
exactly what it was.
Probably just like two completely separate things, but your mind's like, oh my god, oh my god,
Terrifying.
oh my
As
god.
like an 8-year-old, like, holy shit, this small little fish is gonna kill me. So I was scared of. I didn't go in water for the longest time because I was fucking terrified of savannah fish. I wonder if they fucking exist.
So, one of the. Are we still recording?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So one of the creatures of Mother Nature that I'm still very scared of is a trapdoor spider. It's a spider that burrows a little hole underground, and it can it's really quick and it can pop out and grab prey, and I remember vividly this shot of it's a mouse walking by, and then this disgusting, grotesque spider just
Yeah.
pops
Coming
out of the
hole,
ground
yeah.
and drags it in, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I can't, that's why I like where we live, because it's too damn cold for this stuff to live in, but people in the South deal with wacky shit. Like a goddamn trapdoor spider.
Yeah, I remember seeing videos like that too. That is, yeah.
That's horrific. It's so terrifying. I can't deal with that, man. I can't deal with it. Alright, favorite animal?
Pig.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though you eat them?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's where my name originated from, Porkchopman098.
There you go.
Yeah.
I used to love monkeys. I had a Curious George plushie that was this big, and I think I still have it in a tote somewhere. But I loved Curious George. He's my boy. He's my dude. I don't know what the hell the guy in the yellow is, but Curious George slaps.
You remember the episode of Curious George where the light stops didn't work, so he replaced the light stops with the yellow and no, they were working, but he would cause he wanted to be like the light, operate the lights, so he created these circles, the green, red, and yellow lights, and he would cause accidents by switching oh, it's red now, then oh, it's all green. That's one of the episodes that that was one of my favorite episodes, man.
Oh man. But yeah. And then monkeys are still great. There's a community of people online that torture monkeys.
Yeah.
And people comment in the comments fuck those monkeys. I'm so glad they're being horrifically and brutally tortured. And this is why I hate humanity. I want Monkey to uprise like Planet of the Apes.
Glad he becomes nihilistic.
This is why I want Monkey to rule the world.
That's true. That's why you should watch Planet of the Apes.
I've only seen Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I haven't seen Dawn or War. I also haven't seen the probably shitty, Tim Burton one.
More cool. Well, actually, that's the one that's more closely connected to the book, like adapted from the book.
That's why it sucks.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why it sucks. And then I also haven't seen the original 5? Or is it 6? The original ones. I haven't seen those.
All I know is people only really like the first one from that.
From the
what I
original
hear.
series, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember I had a Voodoo account when I was younger. And so, like, there was Planet of the Apes, and then I would, like, scroll to the side because there's, like, a similar bar, and it's, like, beneath the Planet of the Apes. And then I'm like, oh, what the hell is this one? And then, like, I just keep finding more and more. Like, how many are there? Just, like, shocked. Absolutely
the Planet
shook.
of the Apes. Beyond the Planet of... That was probably one, though.
Maybe.
Beyond
You know what?
the Planet
I'll
of
look
the
it up
Apes.
right now. But, yeah. I would say Monkey was my younger. Now, I like a lot of animals. Fuck spiders, though. They can die. Some small spiders I don't give a shit about, but like the big tarantula ones can just.
Well, I like Daddy Longlegs. Like, I think they're kind
They're
of
daddy
badass.
energy, you know.
Yeah, they got the dad energy.
that
you know?
dad energy, you know.
They got like the they got the dad energy.
They got that vibe, you know. All right, so there's the original Planet of the Apes. I don't know if this is going to be in order or not. Then there is, Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Then there's Escape from the Planet of the Apes. What? You can't see this, but there's a screenshot of the two apes in a courtroom, and I really need to see this now. Then there's Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, which is not a mouthful. And then there's Battle for the Planet of the Apes. And the makeup got worse and worse.
Well, yeah, because
Each
wasn't the
time.
first one revolutionary for its makeup?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it won an Oscar for it.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah. And they got worse. And now there's apes in a courtroom. I don't know what to tell you.
And weren't Matt Reeves' Planet of the Apes revolutionary for its special mocap?
I feel like the first and second one. The third one was more like a retread because it's like, yeah, we did this already. But like well, I don't know if it was revolutionary because like Lord of the Rings did it too.
Yeah. Maybe Lord of the Rings probably did it better. Yeah. Or not better, but
First.
First. Well, I mean, Phantom Menace did it first, but
Oh, Jar Jar.
Yeah.
You're right.
I'm pretty sure he was like the first full CGI character.
But yeah, you know what? I might still go with Monkey. If I could have a pet, I would want a pet monkey. Like that's not a joke.
No, like actually, I would have a pet.
If
fucking monkey
Michigan
here.
allows pet monkeys, so I'm like
moving to Michigan.
I'm moving to Michigan to get a monkey. I want. Oh my god, the fucking cute little orange. Oh
Yeah.
my god, dude! Oh, I need an orange monkey stat. I need it now.
Not ape, because they're gonna rip your arm off.
No,
Little
the
monkey.
tiny little shit muffins that are so cute. All right, every time, like after Care 11 is like done with its news cycle, it'll go to like Planet shit, and like almost every other episode, it's about goddamn monkeys, and every single time I'm like, I would die for these things in a heartbeat. They're so
monkeys that are like the size of your fucking hand.
yeah. There's like some that like never grow out. Oh my god. Oh, dude, there's. Oh man, I'm telling you.
Crush the monkey.
No, don't do that.
Squishy.
No, you monster. You monster. All right. So, I think, we've done favorites. We've talked about pop culture. We're nearly 2.5 hours in. I think it's a decent length for a first episode. So, I think for an outro, we should talk about what we're gonna do next episode.
It's already set in stone, but I mean, for the future, I would like to get some guests.
Sure. Yeah, this is as you can have told, have seen, have heard actually. It's a very casual. We go on rants about a bunch of random stuff like monkeys. Yeah, we are. I don't know if we're like pop culture bros, but we're somewhat knowledgeable about some of the stuff that's happening out there, and we don't really want to get into politics much at all.
Yeah, I would try to avoid controversy for now.
Yeah, so we're just gonna avoid those topics and just chill with, the movies and shows and games that are out. We're not sure how consistently we'll make these. We'll probably like have a bunch filmed, or I guess recorded before they released. I also don't know the release schedule. This is very new.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you y'all for listening. If you have any comments, please let us know. We don't have a Twitter for this or an Instagram, so I'm actually not sure how you can let us know. We'll come up with names and then you can send us in stuff next episode. But anyways, thank you a lot for listening. I'm Riley, and I'm with Hunter. And thank you for listening.